everybody. This is Sandra Fernandez, and this is The Little Radio Show, another episode bringing you some wonderful topics. As a reminder, you can find us on thelittleradioshow.com and also on Houston Media Source Radio, which is hmsnetradio.org. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Juan Alanis and Anjelica Cazares. So today's topic, one of the topics that we're going to discuss today is selfies. And one of the things I was going to say is I am the worst person for taking selfies. And it's not just that I absolutely hate to have my photo taken. Taking the photo of myself is just torture. I've never learned to take a decent selfie. They come out, okay. So, I know, Angelica, you are wonderful at them, and I know that you embrace them a lot more than I do. So, do you want to talk a little bit about?
Yes, of course. I think with the selfies, I myself am doing a selfie project on my Instagram. And it's not so that you can take better selfies, but just getting, like you said, getting comfortable with the fact that you're taking pictures of yourself on a constant basis. I do it all the time. I don't post them. Again, I think some people have this perception that if you take a picture, you have to post it, which is not true in whatever reason. I mean, when we work out, some people who start working out don't exactly tell everyone they're working out. They kind of do it along the lines once they have lost the weight. Well, that's sort of the way the selfies work. Once you've gotten better and you like to show the world what you've been doing or the kind of picture you've been taking, you become a little bit more comfortable with it. But
so are you saying that some people, just because you take a selfie of yourself, you're just posting it on social, and you probably shouldn't do that?
No, I don't think that's what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is that it's more interactive with yourself. It's not interactive with the world. You have to turn on the camera, turn to yourself, and just be comfortable. Not with yourself. Be comfortable with doing the actual action of taking a picture. It doesn't have to be the greatest picture. We all know this. How many pictures do photographers not take and they don't use them all? I believe some photographers can take up to like 200 pictures and they edit about 8. So imagine, how many selfies would you have taken to actually possibly post one for the entire world to see it? And then again, most of us living people in the world are not celebrities. If it's something you absolutely hate, and I do this all the time, I take it off. If I don't like it 2 weeks from now,
you delete it. You delete it. See, a lot of people don't think that you... I think a lot of us think of social media like if you post it, then you don't delete it. You leave it on there and it doesn't go away. And I guess maybe giving yourself the liberty to delete it is a good thing. Correct. A good way to think about it, at least.
Correct. It's not a forever commitment. It's not a forever relationship with your pictures. It's a forever thing with yourself, which is where you should start getting comfortable with. And that is the entire selfie project on my Instagram. It's just becoming comfortable with yourself.
So when you say you're running a selfie project, does this mean... Explain to me a little bit more about what that means. Is this something that do you have a hashtag? Are you encouraging other people to post selfies? Is it something that you're doing by yourself and then just sharing with the people who follow you? How does this work?
Okay, correct. Yes. So it is the selfie project. It's a self-inflicted project. I am not enjoying anyone else to join me. Of course, if you want to, it doesn't have a hashtag. It is just a platform that I'm using to utilize so you can come and join. You can join me. You can comment. You can ask questions. If you have any questions, I'm more than will oblige to answer them. But it's
very much organic then. It's very much organic. Party of one, and kind of doing the
yes.
But I think people have, what's interesting is that I think going in some of the circles that we're in, people have started identifying Anjelica as the selfie queen because she uses...
here's the thing.
It's because your selfies are phenomenal.
Well, thank you. I don't see them as that. Of course, when I see them, I can improve. And this has, I'm sorry for our pocketbooks, but this has come a rise where I am now investing in lighting. I am investing in apps. I'm investing in different places where I'd like to...
I show up at home.
So this is your area of expertise.
Well, I would like to think so. I'm not yet. I don't think anybody is ever like a full-on expert at anything. And there's always ways and things that you can learn and things that you can do. And of course, lighting has helped. Certain apps have helped tremendously. Of course,
But yeah, I show up at home and there are new lights and there are new.
No, you show up at the house and there's new boxes of Amazon at our doorstep, and of course you start questioning, what is this? Oh, whoops! Did I not tell you about the ring light that I bought? Yes.
But yeah, no. I think for me, I'm stuck somewhere in the middle because I think when I was younger, I felt a little bit more comfortable, like taking a bunch of pictures of myself and posting them. And I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit more self-conscious about like what pictures I want to post and like, you know, selfies. Do I really want to be taking selfies? And so now I'm kind of caught in the middle. I'm okay with posting them sometimes, but you know, I'm posting much fewer than I was before.
But let's realistically though, I am friends with a lot of people online, and quite honestly, I like to see photos of other people when they're doing stuff, not just of the food that they're eating, or oh, look at the pretty flowers or whatever, or I'm a big fan of landscapes and, you know, nature or stuff, but I like to see photos of people out enjoying themselves, my friends. And so I think about that and it's like, I don't really post those photos of myself. But even before camera phones were normal, you know, everyone carried around, I carried a point and click, and I'm the person that went to New Orleans and took 200 photos of buildings and oh, look at the pretty
We were with
crack.
you in Miami. We remember you. We were like, we would turn around like, where's Sandra? And she's standing 5 feet away.
I'd be standing there taking, oh, look, this, you know, the flower in the shade is, and so I ended up with 200 photos of pretty scenery and 3 photos of people. I went to New York with my girlfriends. We didn't take a single group photo, and I think I've got 2 photos of my friends and 100 photos of the skyline.
How many pictures do we have of the 3 of us together?
Oh, 3?
Probably
I think
like 3 pictures, and we've known each other for a couple of years now, and that's...
So when it comes, every time, at least once a month, I'm going to take more selfies. I am going to take more photos of me out with my friends doing stuff because I know that I enjoy seeing those photos of other people, and I'm sure that my friends and my family, my mom tells me all the time, why don't I see more photos of you?
How?
I don't
do it. Okay. Well, let's see. This I've been doing since I was little. Not selfies particularly because I didn't have a camera. But I would, with myself in front of and I've been caught doing this many a times, and some of my brother's friends still make fun of me to this day. I would get in front of the mirror and I would dance. There was absolutely no reason for me. There was nothing there. I mean, I wasn't, and mind you, I was about 10, 12 years old, and this is what I did on a regular basis. So I think I've always been the person to be as comfortable as possible with myself since I was younger. And again, they make fun of me. Of one time, one of my brother's friends caught me doing it. He came to knock on the door, and the shade was drawn open, and he looked in, and he's seen me dancing with myself in a full-length mirror, like jumping up and down at 12 years old to a song, and I couldn't do anything. And so I've been embarrassed before, and I am still constantly embarrassed to do things that I'm so uncomfortable with. My image and what I see in the mirror has always been one. So the more I push myself to just take these uncomfortable pictures and take them, eventually what happens is either one, you start taking very badass, uncomfortable, or very stinky pictures of yourself, or 2, you get really, really good at taking really bad pictures. But no, what you do is you get really, really good at, you understand the lighting definitely makes a difference. Your angle makes a difference. I mean, it's like anything else. Of course, you guys do a lot of research and y'all become so good at it. Well, I've taken it because I'm an image person. I am not a very wordy, literate type person. What I am is by nature, I'm a visual person. So I like to see things, and that's taken on, I hate to say it, and it sounds very, what would you use that word when you're looking at yourself at very...
superficial?
Yes. But sorry, thank you. But yeah, it does sound like that. But again, it's something I've always done as a younger, or maybe that's why it comes easier to me.
But I think you're listening to the Little Radio Show, by the way, and I think part of what we're talking about selfies right now, and I think part of what you're saying is that it's more about self-confidence too, you know, because it builds your self-confidence to be able to do that and to...
you see, I disagree. It has nothing to do with confidence.
For
me, yes. Well, yes, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with confidence. It has to do with being okay. We get up every morning and we look ourselves in the mirror. Is it because you don't look at yourself in the mirror? Is it that you're not confident?
Some people do, but some people have a hard time looking at themselves in the mirror.
Well, there's reflection everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere you go.
But I think I think you looking at that from that perspective is kind of interesting too. I think. But going back to something that you were saying, Sandra, earlier, do you find that when you post pictures of yourself, do you get more engagement on those pictures?
Good Lord, yes. I actually, photos of me when I'm out there doing it, and I think it has to do with I always thought that it had to do something with how rare they are, because I don't post photos of myself frequently. So when I do, I get a lot of likes and comments and etc. I honestly think that there is also an age factor, because the reality is, as you go from people who are older than me, people in my generation, and further down, what you see is it's so casual. The selfie stick. I mean, seriously.
We encountered one of those last night when we went to go watch a movie. She took and it was like a block long line of people waiting to get their tickets. She whipped it out, and it was something She whipped it out. It was something I would have never done, and I seen her do it with such. That is, to me,
casualness.
Yes. Yeah. That is, I want to get in a position where I become comfortable with doing that.
But you know, one of the things that I've read recently, is of course how many public areas have banned selfie sticks.
Banned, yes.
Amusement parks, museums, there are public buildings of all sorts of different kinds, and I've been reading as well about how the use of selfie sticks is also impacting professional photographers. Like, you go to take photographs. You've been hired to take photographs of a wedding. You're trying to get these really great shots, and then there's a selfie stick that never moves out of the money shot at all, and you know, that kind of stuff. And so there's this whole cultural impact, I think, is where I'm going with this.
Well, what happens is there's a change coming, and if photographers are having a trouble, then they need to readjust, they need to rethink, reevaluate, and move forward. This is not going to disappear. This is sticking.
Yes. And so in a couple of years, what we're going to see is people with personal drones. And I'm not saying that
that is a scary thought.
I'm not saying that to be facetious. I mean, it wasn't not too long ago, there was this national sporting event where they actually put out a PSA telling people to leave their drones at home.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding you.
That is a flying object. Now with my selfie stick, I am attached to it. Maybe that should be a new law.
But think about it, because when you see those selfie sticks, the one thing that's unnatural and that doesn't look good is the fact that you can see the stick.
Yes.
So if you could have a drone that takes your picture, and you're above you, flies above you, and you just control it.
A personal drone. Oh wow.
That's
GoPro, I believe, has announced that they're coming out with theirs, and there's some other that are coming. It's not in the near future, but it's not that far away that they're going to be so commercially available that it's just going to be, people are going to have personal photo drones.
That is a very scary talk.
But that will completely change how selfies are done.
Yes,
Can we also have drones that are personal umbrella holders?
You know, that might be a great invention, a drone that holds the umbrella for you. That is where we're going. That is an outrageous thought.
But, you know, I went to a concert with a friend of mine, and we realized at the end of the concert, we didn't take a single photo, the two of us together. But we saw a group of women who were there with us. I think they posed for like 20 or 30 photos in a manner of 10 to 15 minutes that we were in a break, and it just, I don't do that. I don't automatically do that.
Well, see, I will say that, ever since Anjelica started, taking the selfie project on, we've been posting some of her pictures, and I use her pictures a lot when we go to events. And, I'll post the pictures on my social channels on our Juan of Words content. And the engagement that we get is through the roof. And
people want to see people.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I'm saying, I understand why I should do it. I really, really do. There's like this natural instinctive, I want to do it.
I don't want to do it. But yeah, I think that's where anyone and everyone can start off. You don't have to post absolutely anything. And as a matter of fact, you don't have to, it can be, start selfies with your pets. Like, you can just take constant pictures with your pet. Sometimes people
do nieces and nephews count? Because I got those.
my other question is, like, from a gender row. Like, do you really want to follow a guy who's taking a bunch of pictures of himself?
I don't see why not. I do.
Because I think that's to me, that's sometimes a struggle I have. I'm like, really? Like, I'm posting a bunch of selfies of myself? Like, and that's what the struggle that I have. And I don't know if it's just me being close-minded or whatever, but I
think you're old school. I think that's the word you're looking for.
Yeah, maybe.
Old-fashioned?
Yeah.
Yes, very much. But like I said, I think people become comfortable taking the pictures when someone else is in it, because it alleviates you, and somebody usually takes on the comfort role, like, okay, we're going to do this, now watch this. And that's where people be comfortable. Now, I think that's a starting point for anyone. Get your sister, get your brother, get your dog, do something, but start taking self pictures. And this is not just for your sake, but for the future's sake. For the future's sake of family members, of the city's sake, and people who were existing and things like that. This is the kind of stuff that it's going to last forever. How many times do we not go back and look at black and white pictures, and they had like a picture in front of a building, and they had 30, 50 people in front of it. And that might have been the only picture they've taken the entire lifetime, which is a blurry image somewhere. Who knows what their name was. But for future's sake, this is it.
I think that's a good tip. Like, practice, or like, what would you say, just to wrap this topic up? Like, what would be 2 other quick tips that you'd say for if you're looking to get into selfies?
Well, if you're going to put me on the spot, well, then I would. Well, first of all, yes, very much practice. 2, I would say just practice with lighting. Oh, lighting does phenomenal things. All of a sudden, the under eyes you had, you get in front of that mirror in front of the best place to take a picture is the restroom because of the lighting. So you get up there, and all of a sudden, these ojeras, which are the black underneath your eyes, you look up and they disappeared. They're no longer there. And then another thing that I do recommend you do is actually those like turn shots. Just the turn shots. Just if you do face forward all the time, you're going to get the same result all the time. And you might not like it all the time.
So put an interesting dimension on your face. Okay.
Yes.
One of the things that you told me about that I enacted and I'm much happier with is remember to put the camera up and extend your arm as much as possible.
Aim it down.
Yes,
aim it down.
Yes, we forget. This is not. You're not at the DMV taking your photograph. No, this is your time. This is your moment. You do it in private or in public, which is what I'm trying to get better at.
Those are really great tips, I think. And you're listening to the little radio show.
And I think I'm gonna have to try. I'm going to once again promise to do more. So this will transition us really great into the conversation that we had been promising to do for a while, which is on being an influencer. And so the 3 of us are online quite a bit. And people call us influencers all the time. I honestly very often feel that that's not the correct term for me.
Well, here's the thing. I think some people, I think you're very humble about it when you say we're online. No, we live online. Like, this is where we do most of our work, and this is what we do on a constant basis. But please go ahead.
No, and that's fine. So when I say that we're online, it's not just for fun. We find it fun, but it's not just for fun because for us, this is business. But when it comes to what is an influencer? So an influencer is one of those words that with social media has taken on a completely different perspective. In the old days, in the pre-social media days, and I have experience in this, you would hire a spokesperson to be the face and the voice of something for advertisement, and you would put them on print ads, or they would do a voiceover, and they would be the spokesperson for your orange juice or your restaurant or your cereal box or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now what we have is we've got a completely different set of who influencers are. There are polls coming out that are showing, like, of the top 20 most recognized quote-unquote celebrities for millennials and youngsters, 10 of them are not on TV. They're YouTubers and they're social media influencers.
Or they started on socials.
Or they started on
social
social.
Sites.
So what we have is we've got the rise of the celebrity influencers. Celebrities who are becoming social media influencers, and social media influencers who are becoming celebrities. So let's start talking about what is an influencer.
Oh, I think that's a
very ambiguous question because it has so many answers.
I think it's an arbitrary question too, because I think it matters. It depends on your opinion, and I think sometimes it depends on the project that you're working on.
So usually, I mean, the core of the word is somebody who can provide influence.
Yeah.
Usually if you're looking for a social media influencer, you want them to do X thing for you if you're a brand. So if I am, for example, a cereal, and I'm trying to get people to either buy more cereal, which probably wouldn't do, but to know more, to do more brand recognition, or to fall in love with my brand, or to even go out and test it, I need to get my name in front of them. So social media influencers are an alternative.
Right.
Correct.
An alternative to get my product or to get my message in front of audiences.
Maybe the way I see influencers is people, the literal term of it, who I see influences me. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't have to be people with big numbers. It has to have somebody with an actual impact on myself and other people who can relate to me, or relate to their audience, or relate on a big, and who are consistent on their social platforms. That's what I consider an influencer.
And, I think for me, I think never have demographics been more important than now. Because, it really depends on, who are you trying to reach? And, then you have to think about, where are those people, where are those people engaging already? So is it on Vine, And if it's on Vine, who are they watching on Vine? Who are the big stars on Vine? And, and then on the celebrities, I think nowadays, if you're a celebrity and you're not on social, you're missing the train, because you're not you're missing that engagement of people who are going to follow you. They're going to build loyalty by being on social. And so it's interesting to see that some of the biggest celebrities are on Instagram, and they're being in the car,
sharing
hanging
very
out with their
personal
friends.
things.
Yeah.
Well, and also media consumption is changed so significantly. My youngest nephew, he's in elementary school, and the way that he finds out about stuff is on YouTube. Mm-hmm. He talks about watching YouTube channels the way when I was his age, I used to watch TV shows. And in fact, I try to explain to him sometimes about live TV, the time before on demand and DVRs and etc. Mm-hmm. And he looks at me like I'm insane.
Now, live TV was a huge deal back then. I think, you had to tune in. Mm-hmm. I remember
you had an appointment. It was a weekly appointment, or you lost.
Well, here's the thing. Not only live TV, but actual live TV. Like, we're coming to you live from New York or wherever.
Yeah.
And now,
that was a big deal.
And now how rapidly after you see a live performance on TV, how rapidly is it on YouTube?
Immediately, almost.
Immediately.
Well, but my nephew, he discovers new products, things that are coming out, movies that he wants to watch, reviews about games and other stuff, and he's all on YouTube. He watches YouTube the way I used to watch television, and actually his TV consumption is almost completely tied to his online media consumption. So he will tell me stuff, and so he tells me, oh, such and such has a channel, and these are people who only exist on YouTube. They've got 800,000 subscribers. They do a daily show. They do a weekly show, which means that they put out an episode, and he will give me recommendations. My nephew who was in elementary school, will give me recommendations on people to watch, and some of them have been very, very good. Mm-hmm. For him, for his friends, for the kids in his age group, YouTube, that is it. That is who the influencers are for him.
So correct. So it's now the influencers are the people now who have fans, subscribers, viewers. Mm-hmm. Those who are creating content to live online are influencers.
But is there a threshold that you have to be an influencer?
Are we speaking numbers? Are we talking
in a threshold in any way? Do you have to, reach a certain number of people? Do you have to be on certain platforms?
Well, I think if you have 100 people following you, it would be premature to call you an influencer. But again, it's going to depend on who that is. It's always going to be quality over quantity. If you have 10,000 people following you as fans, but nobody ever comments, nobody ever interacts with your content.
Yeah, that's what
no
I was
one is subscribing and sharing.
Correct.
Yeah, I did an interview on TV once about how to get more Twitter followers, and I was trying to explain to the reporter that it's not just quantity; it's quality. It's about getting more better. It's more important to me to get 1,000 people following me. We're going to engage with my content and share what I'm sharing further as an influencer, quote unquote, than getting 10,000 people following me who ignore everything that I say.
Now, would you say that if you had these 50 followers and you recommended something, and let's say half of them actually took your advice and bought or seen or did or A, B, and C, and D, as opposed to this person who has 500 and they have viewers and 1 or 2 people engaged or 1 or 2 people took that recommendation, who would you consider the influencer?
Well, if I knew those numbers that you just said, the one with the 50.
Exactly.
So you're just listening to the little radio show, and that's what I was going to ask too, because if you have 100 people, but those 100 people are engaged, then to me you're an influencer because the people are taking action on what you're telling them. And if you have 1 million and none of the 1 million are following or paying attention to anything that you're saying, then you're just white noise.
Well, but then again, so let's take a step back. Why do I follow you?
Because I'm assuming you have something important to say.
Well, something important. Okay, so let's say that...
not necessarily important. I think you have a unique perspective, or you might have a voice that I can reason with.
So,
and then the other question there is, like, what does it take to be an influencer? Are there certain qualities that you have to be an influencer?
See,
I think you have to have a beating heart.
That right there is there's no silver bullet, and by that means there's no one formula that I have seen, and there might be a formula out there, but there's not one that I can say, oh, that works for everybody. No, because you've got 8-year-old little boys out there doing toy reviews, getting hundreds of thousands of views a week. You've got the families that are out there traveling and posting videos of themselves. You've got the 20-somethings that are doing skits on Vine in 6 seconds and getting hundreds of thousands of views. You've got the food bloggers who develop one new recipe a week, but they are posting photos and they're making recommendations that actually people are following and listening to on a very religious way. It just depends. So what we're looking at is that we have something for everyone. If I am a model train enthusiast, there is someone out there who is an expert in model trains that is posting either videos or information or other stuff that is going to speak to my interest, and who's going to have an influence on me.
The commonality that I think I've observed is that these people understand their communities. I think like you really understand your community.
So is that the set for the influence?
I don't know
that you understand your community.
I don't know if that's the set, but
or the community is built around the things that you have in common.
Yeah, because I think it's so important to know, like.
This is a very blurred line. Now you can self-identify as an influencer, or you can have your community tell you you're an influencer. I mean, which way is it? Now, this is a very...
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. I like that. I think that's the most appropriate answer because...
I think somebody becomes, quote-unquote, an influencer the point at which somebody pays you to influence your people.
Now that's a different... Now that's a whole other kind of influencer.
And I would say paying and getting paid to reach your community, then I think that becomes there's a very fine line there because you have to continue being... in a way authentic and in a way respecting your community, that you're not just pushing products on there unless that's what they expect from you.
Well, actually, this is a great conversation, but we're running out of time. So the thing that I'd like to say is the people who influence me are those who I find to be truthful, who show an expertise in what they're talking about, and who have a common set of interests as mine.
I would say for me, it's the people that I find to be authentic. If I feel that you're authentic, if I feel that you're being honest with me, and that you're putting your real self out there, not not a watered down version of who you want to be, but you're putting a little bit of your reality out there.
So you're speaking in terms of authentic.
I respect that. Yeah, I respect that.
Okay, so as for me, I think with influencers, I'm a very loyal person, which means I follow certain people to a certain degree. Now, I can interchange influencers that I truly trust and believe in. I can switch them out very fast because once you start losing my interest, you gotta go. I gotta find somebody else who's intriguing. But again, that's just me. So
So this is the Little Radio Show seeking to influence you through upcoming episodes. Thank you for joining us today.